Hello there. Today I'm going to show you how to create a project template in your studio. So you can see I am here on my dashboard. I'm going to come over here to my project tab here in my menu, my studio menu. And I, of course, have already created one, but we're going to create a new one right now. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to click on Add Project. And I am, of course, going to call this Project Template. Now, just so that I can remember later, I'm going to give it a different name. Now you can do a project template for each of the different types of projects that you do. So for example, if you just do kitchen designer for a day projects as one of your types of projects and you do full design projects as another, you can set up separate templates for each one just depending on what type of project it is. So the most important thing, of course, is to give it the name. Make sure you've named it. So if it is just a kitchen designer for a day, make it sure that you name it Project Template Kitchen Designer for a Day. In fact, let's just go ahead and do that. If I can spell. I'm not adding any clients right now because this is going to be something that I'm going to add clients to later after I have duplicated this template. I am, however, going to make sure that anybody else in my studio that will need to be on this type of project is added right now. So for example, if I know that Sally Designer is always going to be part of my kitchen designer for a day projects, I'm going to go ahead and add her now. And then I'm going to leave the project status blank. Again, this is because this is a template. We'll fix that, change it whenever we actually create the real project as a duplicate of this template. So now I'm going to come down and click Create Project. And there we go. We've created our project. Now the first thing I'm going to say is I like to have some project info here. So I lay out, project info, overall budget, that sort of thing. I go ahead and type that in here. So let's come back over here for just a second so that you can see what that looks like. Project info, budget, timeline, project objective. I'm actually going to go ahead and copy this right now. Normally I would just type it in, but since I've already got it typed out, I'm going to do it that way. If you ever get lost when it comes to your projects, don't forget that you have this search filter button up here that you can use. So I'm going to come here. There is the one I just created. I'm going to click here in my project info, and I am actually going to go ahead and paste what I just typed, or what I just copied. Now don't forget that when you are copying and pasting online, from online to online, from your computer to online, or vice versa, the formatting doesn't always carry over. So make sure you take a look at it. And if it looks weird, just go ahead and type it in or paste it as plain text and then do the formatting. And always make sure you hit that little check mark, this guy right here, when you're done. That's what saves it. So we've got that saved. If I have a questionnaire that I'm always going to use, I can go ahead and add it in here. Now, in a kitchen designer for a day, I might have already had them fill out the questionnaire when they actually got the package. But if you wanted to, you could come in here and add it again or instead. So I've clicked copy. Then I've come down here to my kitchen designer for a day. And if I do that, it's going to add it in here. Again, I don't have to keep it there. I can put it in the package instead. It's completely up to you. If you change your mind later, you can always just come in here and delete out of the code, and it'll just remove that questionnaire. If you have a standard contract, you can go ahead and get it added here. Hopefully you've already gone up to your user settings or your studio settings and added in your contract templates. And in that case, then when you're creating your project template, you can click on Add Text File like I just did, and then we're going to actually click Replace Current Contract with Template. I know it doesn't seem right, but that's actually the way we want to do this. I'm going to come down here to my Designer for a Day contract. It says, do you want to overwrite it? That's just a warning in case you've already typed something else in there. We haven't. We're all set. I'm going to click Confirm. Now, a little secret. This contract actually didn't have anything in it. I should probably go back up into my studio settings and edit it. So let's go ahead and replace it with something else. Let's just pick, for right now, we're going to pretend like this is my actual designer for a day contract. And by putting it in here, then when you get a new project, all you have to do is come in and fill in the appropriate information after you've duplicated the template, and you're all set to go for the client to e-sign it. Next up are the documents and files. I like to have some particular groups set up ahead of time. So I have made a list of the things that I use the most often. I recommend making a list of this and the checklist that we're going to talk about in just a minute. If you have it all in a document laid out, it's real easy to copy and paste. So let's see here. I need my project map. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to click Add Group, paste in project map, create dot group. And I'm going to do that again for each of these. So copy project calendar. I created the added the group already. Paste it in, create. Add group, copy, paste, create. So it's a pretty easy thing to do. You just go back and forth till you've got them all in there. And of course, you don't have to have the exact same documents and files groups that I do. You can add to them, you can subtract from them, however it works best for you. All right, I've got just about everything in there. I guess I'll go ahead and add these last two. The questionnaire responses, by the way, is where I put the PDF of their responses to any questionnaires I've asked them. So more questionnaires, more responses go in there. And last but not least is my welcome package. Add that group in there. And that's where I like to have a copy of my welcome packet, their what to expect, the services menu, all that sort of thing. I like to upload those in the actual project. That way they don't have to go out and sort around through any additional paperwork they might have. It's all in one nice, neat spot. Now, if later on you don't need the welcome package at the top, don't forget that you can always come up here to the blue action bar and click on the sort button and then drag and drop these to wherever they need to be. All right, close that. So now we have our documents and files set up. I don't need to set up any appointments right now, but I am going to come down here to the notes section. And here in the notes section is where I will add all of my checklists and also my standard meetings that I have. I'll add a place for myself to add the notes there. So to add a checklist, you click on Add Checklist. Now I've already created a checklist. I've got it all typed out so I don't get lost. So I'm going to do the same thing here again. I'm going to copy the name. I'm going to paste it into the title. And then I'm going to copy and paste. You can, of course, type them all in here if you would prefer. Now, if you're like me and you've written these out by hand and you're going to end up typing them anyway, you can write them out by hand and then come in here and add them that way. You continue adding until you've gotten all of this particular checklist done. When you're done, you're going to click the little red X there because we don't, once you're done adding items, and then you'll click Done. And so I've got my checklist started. And you will proceed to do this for all of the different steps that you have in your project. Now in mine, I have all of my NOVA method steps. So I have all the way through gate 14, and I have all of those checklists in there. So if you were part of the 19 hours blueprint, this should all look extremely familiar to you. All right, coming back over here. So you do that, you just create one checklist for each section, for each of the separate gates. Now I did combine like 1 and 2 and 13 and 14, but for the rest of them, I made them all separate. And I'll show you what this looks like completed in just a moment. The other thing that I like to do is add a note. So let's say we have our work session notes. I like to take notes when I'm on a job site or in a meeting directly in the note here. Let's just go ahead and change the color. You can color coordinate however you'd like. But that way, when I am on the site, I can open up my DOMA on my phone or my tablet, depending on which one I'm using, come directly here to the notes section and open this up and type out my notes while I'm there, rather than writing down my notes, trying to keep track of papers. Everything is right here. I don't have to lose it, and I don't have to remember to upload the notes to the project, which is another thing that I'm notorious for doing. If I just do it right here, I don't forget. All right, so that takes care of the project level part of your template, but what about your spaces? You can do the same exact thing for your spaces. So you come down here to these spaces and you'll click the plus sign to add a space, and then just choose the rooms that you normally do. Now in this case, we're just doing a kitchen, so let's just stick with kitchen. Keep it simple. And create the space, and you can see it created it, and now it brought me down to my kitchen info tab. Go ahead and put the budget in. No, sorry, don't put the budget in right now. When you get the project, you can go ahead and put the budget in right here. And if you'll remember that when you add items to the proposal later, it's gonna tabulate there. Now I do like to have some sort of a description here. Let me just come back out here, and I'm gonna take a look at the kitchen notes. I just had a statement of work before, and this is just because I can't remember it. This is why I have a project template, because I can't remember if I don't actually look at it. Come down to my kitchen. So we're back in this kitchen space that we're creating the template for, and I'm just going to paste statement of work. And then once I have the actual project, I'll use this section to type up the statement of work for the client to view. If you'd like to go ahead and upload a feature image, you can. I like to have little icons. It's just the way that I am. But you don't have to. You can leave it completely blank if you would prefer. Here again, you could input some questionnaires and links to appointment times. I'm not going to do that for this particular one. I am going to come down here to the notes, however. And here again, I can add my space-specific checklist. So when I do this, I can come over here and I'm going to come down to my kitchen that I've already created. And I'm going to make sure that I have all of the finishes that I need. So let's start with our specialty finishes. So I need these items. I come over here and we're going to start with specialty finishes. And then I'm just going to paste, and hopefully you didn't do what I just did, which is to copy the whole thing. But it's the same thing that we did before. Copy, paste, copy, paste. Check mark. Once we're done, we'll click the little red X so it doesn't add a new one, and click done. And now I have my specialty finishes. And then I'll proceed to do this for all of my standard finishes, any fixtures or trim or tile, anything like that. All of that's going to get added in separately. So that is how you create your project template. Now, whenever I'm ready to go, come back over here to my project, and let's take a look at a little bit more complete version of the kitchen. So I'm in my original project template. Come down here to my notes. You can see that I have made multiple checklists, and I have different meeting notes ready to go so I can type them up. And now the best part about having a project template, and I do recommend you favorite it so it comes up here to the top. All you have to do is click on the little heart. It'll turn it orange. You get a new project. This is all you have to do. You click on the three dots and you come down to duplicate. That's it. It automatically brings over, it creates a copy. It brings over all of your documents and files, all of your notes, and all of your spaces and their notes. Come back up here to the project level. The other beautiful part is it also brings over any users that you have added. So that way you don't have to remember to add those additional users to a new project. They're just automatically added. All I need to do now is change the name. To whatever I choose. Name it however you'd like. If there are some spaces, maybe this particular project doesn't have an office, but it has all of the rest of the rooms, I can always remove the additional spaces that I don't need. So here's the project I just created. Let's remove the office. And While we're at it, let's say that there are actually 2 bathrooms instead of just 1. So I can duplicate just the space. And it's going to bring me directly into the duplicated space. And what I'm going to do is, and I'm still in my Renee's project, I'm just going to change it from copy of bathroom to bathroom 2. And I'll change the first bathroom to bathroom 1. All right. If you have any questions, just let us know in the handy dandy little orange chat bubble. We're here to help.